Good morning, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you again on Admission Hunt, which is one of the biggest virtual platform for career counseling and learning about what's trending for the future of education in India. Today's session is concentrated on digital marketing and how the opportunities and scope is growing in e-commerce and e-retail. What a fortunate time we have when the Google, talked about their investments in India yesterday. It actually reinforces the confidence in Indian community and the way India is embracing digital. With close to 26 million SMBs listed on Google, certainly more and more businesses are talking about going digital. And with the COVID-19 pandemic around, this has also become more relevant that why digital is going to stay and why e-commerce and e-retail is going to be there around us. A lot of talk is happening on hyper-local. A lot of discussion is happening on the way small businesses can actually capture more and more uh, eyeballs, increase their footfalls, and how they end up actually adapting e-commerce in order to grow their scope and opportunities. Today we have with us a eminent panel, and I have the keynote with me as Miss Amla Awasthi, the head HR of Indiamart, one of the biggest B2B platform in the country. I was just talking to her and I realized that, the number of traders and suppliers on Indiamart is phenomenal. And actually, the way Indiamart initiated it was among the beginners in the country. This e-commerce was experienced with Indiamart is what I can say. So I take this opportunity to introduce Miss Amla Awasthi to the audience. Uh, Amla Awasthi is currently Vice President HR Indiamart, where she heads the HR function in areas such as technology, corporate functions, sales and service, product design and marketing, which includes business partnering in talent acquisition, talent management, learning and organizational development, compensation management, and employee engagement. Ms. Amla Awasthi holds a master's degree in psychology, HRDM, from the University of Allahabad. She is adept at developing innovative HR initiatives to streamline processes and capitalize on organizational growth opportunities. She also holds the distinction of developing tools to assess employee satisfaction across the organization and is actively involved in designing training and leadership modules and organizing team building events. As a strategic advisor to the HR and business head. Business leadership by providing guidance and direction on all aspects of the development of people as part of growth. Welcome, Ms. Awasthi. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. We are looking forward to your keynote on the topic of how digital marketing and e-commerce are going to be around us. And we request you to please, share your wisdom with us, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah. Over to you.
Thank you so much, and good morning to all of you. I think we were just discussing a few minutes before as how many suppliers do we have at Indiamart platform. To just start the quote onto the numbers, right now we have approximately 1.59 thousand paid customers, the base that we have it. And if I have to talk about the unique buyers, last month the growth was phenomenal, and we have close to 4 CR unique buyers which were onboarded last month. I think these these times are a little tough, and it took a little time to shape up back into the business, but we are back now full-fledgedly, and that's giving us one positive moral booster to entire teams that we talk about, whether sales, technical, support functions, as what innovations and changes are required with this changed timing of COVID-19 that's happening. When we talk about the scope and career opportunities in the e-commerce industry, beat anyone, there are so many available internally with us. Coming on, focusing on completely on the e-commerce side, there is a lot of tech development which is happening, because we are now moving on to a lot of innovation side as how technology can support us in terms of reaching out to the customer base at a larger platform. Now that could be in big data form, into machine learning, uh, user interface designing, mobile learning that we talk about. These days, AIs are playing a very vital role. And there is a lot of innovation and new platforms that has come up into app developments. These developments are on the one side, on the technology side, and on the other side is, yes, the learning and development. Because when we talk about customers, once we develop all of these and we use these technology platforms, we have to ensure that the customers are completely trained about any of the new platforms that we take on. Because we talk about 2 months back, they were more used to of meeting face to face, understanding the portal, understanding all details, and then taking any call with respect to buying any product that we have it. I think that has completely changed. So it's more like the focus is more on IoT platforms, on the intelligent devices that we have it currently. We see there is change in work platform, which is more skilled. There are a lot of qualities which is more on demand. So when we talk about skilled, it means skilled onto the tech side. That would be more preferred. So I think there is no dearth of any career opportunities or scope of growth with respect to this COVID that has happened. That will still be more in demand in the forthcoming times. Yes, if I have to talk about within Indiamart, since we are one of the leading e-commerce organizations and we are leading in this game, we also face a lot of challenges in terms of many aspects. And how do we overcome it is another thought that we are focusing currently. These challenges could be, as I said, since we are not meeting the customers directly face to face, it's majorly either on a mobile or on a desktop. So these user interfaces are totally different now, and it's new for them. When we talk about these SMEs, many of them are well versed with the technology, they're comfortable using technology, but most of them are not. So there is where our focus is completely as how to ensure that these customers are completely comfortable in using technology, and we enable them to use the platform completely. So which is like the first leading issue, that challenge that would have come up is how to enable these users on our current platform. How do we enable them to use these technologies completely? Understand the behavior of a customer, understand their problem statement, what they are trying to reach out, what they are trying to say, what changes do they expect us to make it in the current scenario. That's one aspect. The other is, since it's growing and there is a sudden spark in the business need that has come up, the other thing that's there is fraud detection. because there are a lot of fraudulent activities which keep happening when we use any kind of online platform. So the focus is also there that we ensure that the customer's database or the genuinity of the customer is completely checked at our end while we bring them on the common platform. Since Indiamart has largest database of buyers and suppliers, we are doing a lot of pattern analysis to find out, let's say, if there is any suspicious activity which is happening of incorrect buyers that we have it. Henceforth, what we have done is that there is a lot of focus on the mobile technology, on the process automations that we do it. Now, how do we identify? Challenge is one aspect, but we need to overcome with these challenges. So there are various algorithms, there are various technical platforms, pattern analysis that we keep doing in an understanding if there is anything incorrect which is happening on the site, and what do we do to curb it completely. While we are doing all of this, as I said, we need more skilled teams. As why? Because there is sudden need due to COVID. There are certain categories where there is a lot of demand of the product that has come up. So what do we do that? We need to do a lot of category optimization there. So there is a specific team, a skilled team, which does a detailed study about each category, queries that are coming up, and aligning those categories into a right platform, so that whenever any buyer is looking out for a product, it's easy for them to figure it out as which customer is having the right product and what is the pricing and everything around it. Not just ensuring the product availability that is there. As I said, we need to understand the customer behavior. So for that, servicing is very important. Since we are into B2B space, our major focus in servicing our existing customers, as kindly connecting with them, developing their overlook and insights through online trainings that we keep doing it, as what and how they should manage the queries that are coming, the leads that are coming to them with respect to any product query that they have. To have all of this completely, yes, there is a lot of focus which is there on the technology side to enable the customers in terms of the query handling or onboarding the customer. So we have a very specific team which does the complete onboarding of a customer. And to ensure a smooth onboarding, there are various checks, platforms, which we keep doing it, and we are in constant touch with these customers. On the internal side, if I talk about not just the customer behavior on the market, we have close to 4,000 plus employee base across Pan India. All of us are sitting at home, working from our home. So a sales guy would try and reach out the customer through mobile or the call methodology as to reach out and understand the customer behavior, understand their query, help them out completely. Similarly, on the employee side, we are focusing a lot on the mental and physical well-being that we have it around. So we have a lot of technology in place for the customers that we have it. When I say customers, this is employees. For me, my employee is also a customer. If he or she is having any query, I should be in a position to resolve that quickly as soon as possible. So we have made an employee ticketing system. So for example, if there is an issue with my laptop that has happened, how would an employee reach out in these times here? So what we made is we had a strong internal technical tool on which we work. So when an employee raises a ticket, when I say ticket, it's a work order, like we do it in any of, if our air condition gets needs a service requirement, we reach out to a toll-free number, we log a complaint, we get a customer call by the service people, and that's how they come and resolve. Is exactly same what we do right now for our internal people. For any issues, there is an escalation matrix. So let's say once if a call is not addressed, it reaches out to the next escalation level, will reach out to a manager. Similarly, for customers, what we have done is that we have tried and made the exact tool a customer can raise a query with respect to any problem that's coming to them. And this would have been not possible if technically we would not have been sound enough. So we have a strong internal technical team who works completely on these platforms in order to ensure that these queries are completely handled in a structured manner. When we say that we need to overcome about these challenges, there is a scope, I would say. Now, these scopes help us in enabling various platforms where there are opportunities available for any changes that we keep looking ahead. So when we say about overcoming these challenges, we have a lot of trainings that we keep doing, whether it is a new product development that we have done it, any product launch that we are doing it, any pricing related to the products that's happening. How would a customer understand? Because not everyone would read an email communication. So that communication needs to be completely strong. How do we do it? Is to reach out to them multiple times in giving those one-to-one training sessions, ensuring those video tutorials for external and internal customers that we have it, which is like making it completely easy that you do it everything on your own, do it yourself. We are developing a lot of content which will be mobile based. So because many of these people work on mobile, so it's a complete focus on wherein a user should be comfortable in any technological platform that they want to reach out. Not just managing the tech aspect, as I said, there is a lot of focus on the people aspect as well. So let's say for our internal employees, we have made chatbots. So for example, if there is any query which is related to leave, it is related to salary, it is related to your weekday offs, anything that's there. Yes, HR is available to handle all of these queries at one go over a call. However, these chatbots are immediate query handling methods, which is helping a lot in terms of resolving the queries which is coming by the internal customers. We all know it's a different time. You come to office, you're completely out from your personal setup. It's a professional environment which is there. You have a proper desking methodology, you have your own system, you have team huddles, you have interactions that keep happening, which balances out a mental well-being for any one of us. That has changed. And when I mean to say that has changed, one, that there is a pressure, a COVID pressure which is there. And then of course, there is a work which is demanding a lot of energy and time. We are staying with our families these days and we need to balance it out, because while we are at a home space, ensuring that work environment in that home space itself is a big task. How do we keep engaging them? So we focus a lot on one-to-one employee physical and mental health being. We reach out to each employee with respect to any concerns that is coming, whether it is personal or professional. So we are there ready to help at any stage, at any time. When we talk about the innovations and the technology changes that's happening, we already have a great tool which enables and strengthens both the employees and the customers. And these queries could be related to the services of Indiamart, which is which could be a lot of focus on any online meetings that we are doing it, which could be about reaching out to a customer through a telecalling method. Like for an example, if any customer is looking out who is the biggest seller at Allahabad for any product related, buyers are there, they're looking out, they're still looking out for any of the product. How do we ensure the authenticity and the query that's coming from one particular buyer that is there? There are various algorithms that works from the back end to ensure that the right customer is being focused and that data is completely available for any buyer to see as which are these suppliers through which we can buy these products. Roles like technology are evolving. There is a need in terms of skill that we are looking ahead. Another live example I would want to share with you is, as we all know, recruitments are happening, but they're happening at a pace when it is more need basis. It is just not happening the way it used to happen some 3 months back, hiring in surplus. So what are these recruitment? And there are huge recruitment teams which are available with us. What do we do with them? The best that we did was that we got them trained. We got them complete skill training into category optimization, category management. And they are right now deployed in a specific skilled job. So these are role deployments which plays a very important vital role right now at these times. We need to understand the strength of an individual and fix it at the right place where it's required. That is what most of the organizations would also want to take it on and put it. These are the times which is about risk taking, testing yourself, taking to a level where things can be completely smooth and there's a new learning that's happening to each one of us. At one end, we could have said, okay, fine, when the recruitments would come back, we would see as how needs to be done. But human brain works very smart. Why do we let it go idle? Why not to utilize it at the right space, which is more required right now? And that has really worked pretty well. We got a lot of appreciation for these teams who have done the work which was out of their space completely. We talk about routine HR jobs. They will not be no longer like a routine HR jobs. That will transform completely now for each one of us, because one, that we need to ensure delivery doesn't get hampered for the business. Employee well-being will be equally focused, which means our roles would be more empowered and more focused, which is more like counseling and more like guidance in terms of as how to ensure that there is a perfect delivery that comes into the place. Yes, no doubt there is a lot of digitalization that is required, which all of us are focusing. Any industry that we talk about is moving from old structured format to a new digitalization platforms, and that's how AI, bots, all of these are playing a very important and vital role. That is all that I would want to focus right now and share it across with all of you, that there is no dearth of learning into any of the new spaces that we have it. It's just we need to identify our strengths and understand the need that's coming out by the external environment and keep changing and innovating into any forms the demand is coming for. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amla. This was very insightful. In fact, certain points that you highlighted are very interesting when you talked about the impact of technology in each, business function that you have brought in. You did highlight it that how agility has paved in, post-COVID. I think the speed has tremendously changed. So, in this journey, Amla, in last 3 months per se, what typical skill change you have observed in terms of people's ability to succeed in their roles? What is that key point which you think has come out very strikingly different, uh, that people can be comfortable and successful in their journeys ahead in whatever roles they are in? What is that particular thing?
Sure, thank you. Good question. I would want to focus on two specific areas because they play a very important role for any success growth for Indiamart. One, yes, the technology aspect, because there are a lot of innovations which we have done it internally on the tech side, which is about reaching out to the customers in terms of providing a comfortable platform wherein they can have their product displays completely be there. Second is the online methodology of payments, because earlier these customers were comfortable in terms of check payments.
Yeah.
So training these people, we have Pay with Indiamart as one of the platform. So for example, if I have one of the buyers, there is a product query that has come in terms of having the delivery done, and there is a supplier. So there is a good platform that we have provided in order to ensure the safety and security of the demand that's coming up. A supplier can submit that amount to Indiamart. It will be secured with Indiamart. Once the buyer has got the product which is supplied by the supplier, and we get a confirmation by the buyer that the product is absolutely fine as per the needs and demands that we are looking ahead, the amount gets released to the supplier. So in a way, both ways, both the parties are completely safe and secured, and the amount is also secure. The other method is the online payment method. If I talk about our parents, they weren't comfortable doing any kind of online payment. Similarly, these customers were not comfortable doing online payments. So training these people as how secure, how comfortable, easy is online payment is where complete focus was there. So a tech and a product team works completely on designing these modules. But how do we reach out to the customers to ensure training all of this is where the servicing teams plays an important role. So a sales guy's job is not just to get the revenue to the organization, but also to ensure that these trainings are completely being imparted to them. So they play a very, as I said, HR roles are changed as more often counselors. So are these sales people's roles have been changed mostly to a servicing kind of roles. They bring in the money, but they also ensure a proper servicing is being done. So these are two areas which I would want to say a lot of focus, change, innovation, both on the technology and servicing side that has happened.
Interesting. One last question before I say thank you to you is about, what are those key roles in the e-commerce industries that you think are, going to take most attention now? Because e-commerce is going to be at the center stage. A lot of attention is already, garnered. The challenges, initial adoption challenges are mostly overcome. We are in a zone of time when it's going to be the mainstream. Having said that, which key roles you think, the student of today would try to prepare himself for so that he can actually be fit for the new era in e-commerce industry?
See, I would say e-commerce is a very beautiful platform. Why I say this is the industry where you get an opportunity to experiment in any role. You get the horizons are completely open in any of the new role that comes across, whether having a fraud detection team, whether having an online payment team, whether to have an online onboarding of the customers that we have it would be injustice for me to say that any one or two roles would be specific. There is a scope in almost all the roles that we have. There can be change in the demand of these roles. The focus would be completely most on the innovations on the tech and product size. And yes, there will be a lot of need and demand that once these products are there, how do we service and sell them to the customers that we have it. So when we say about all this, a customer once has been onboarded, do we say that there is no scope for an onboarding? Yes, there is a lot of scope there. So we would require an onboarding role skill there. We would require a tech and product. We would require a sales and servicing completely. We would require an operations role completely in order to ensure that whatever details have been filled by these suppliers are accurate enough when any buyer is looking ahead. So all of these roles will play a vital role. It may change time to time. The demand and the need will depend as how market functions. So that's what it will be.
Interesting. So, I think your narrative was very, very clear and the message is also very clear. E-commerce is going to be one important segment where a lot of dynamic opportunities are going to be there. And I think the future student and the academia should prepare in order to embrace the, talent to be built for this industry. And a lot of effort is being done already. We can see dedicated programs being, run by universities to support the e-commerce industry. A lot of customization effort is also going on with Amazon, Flipkart, Indiamart, and many more platforms, independent platforms, trying to get the talent. I think the demand for talent is only growing and the skill sets are getting more and more visible and clearer in terms of, what should ideally be trained so that the population of the today can be made more industry ready. So thank you so much, Amla, for your time and very, very insightful deliberation that you gave on the thematic today. We appreciate your patronage at Digital HR and at ASMA. We are very, very honored to have you with us today. Thank you so much for your time and we look forward to further interacting with you.
Thank you
So
and
much.
take care. Thanks.
So moving on in the segment, we have with us a very interesting panel. There is a slight change due to the family emergency at Mr. Akram Lamba's end. One of his relative died in the early morning today, and he has to then travel to Ludhiana. So I have requested Mr. Hitesh Motwani to take up the session forward. Let me do a brief introduction of the elite panel that I have, a panel which comprises a very interesting mix of skills and and the knowledge and the wisdom together, so that my audience today can actually get the holistic view of what's happening in the digital marketing and the branding space, at the same time how e-commerce is shaping up further. So let me first introduce Mr. Hitesh Motwani, our moderator of the session today. Mr. Hitesh Motwani is a CEO of Skillopedia. He's a communication expert and a very renowned social media trainer with almost a decade of experience. Mr. Motwani is consulting leading companies like Bandhan Bank, Crompton Greaves, Kotak Group, Future Generali, DSP, BlackRock Investment Managers. He also is associated with Twitter and has helped Tata Group, among others. As CEO of Skillopedia, Mr. Motwani is undertaking training and consulting project for firms and assists them to make their marketing strategy. He also leads business growth and is currently consulting clients such as Mahindra and Mahindra, Times Group, India Today, and many more. Mr. Motwani is a firm believer in the value of the online voice and has the unique experience of including and executing digital and social media programs for leading corporates, brand building, and related stuff. He's a visiting faculty at IIM Bangalore for digital marketing and is also part of the faculty at several of Mumbai's top educational institutions and colleges. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you, Mr. Hitesh. Thank you so much for joining in. And I'll be requesting you to moderate the session ahead. Meanwhile, let me introduce our next panelist, one of the media I would say one of the media experts. We have with us Mr. Ujjwal. His laptop is currently, giving some trouble, so he should be here joining us anytime. So can I have the introduction slide, please, Pranay? Professor Ujjwal Chowdhury is a Pro Vice Chancellor at Adamas University, Kolkata. He's a leading media and communication expert in India. He's known for his convergent approach to media education, starting from an integrated broad base, leading to focused specialization at the top. He's a known face in TV studio debates and a regular writer in Indian media. Professor Chowdhury also served as Dean of Amity University, Dean of DGMC Media College, Mumbai University, Dean of Symbiosis Media School, and Dean of Whistling Woods International. He was also Director of NSHM India Media and Design School. Mr. Ujjwal has been associated with several media organizations, including Business India TV, Z News, Times of India Group, and WHO Media. Professor Chowdhury is the recipient of Golden Triangle Award by the Global Forum for Public Relations and has been honored with the Hall of Fame in PR and PR Education by Public Relations Council of India. I welcome Professor Ujjwal Chowdhury once again on the dais. And I take this opportunity to now introduce Mr. Kunal. Pranay, please put Kunal's profile.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me introduce Mr. Kunal Nehruji. Welcome, Kunal. I'm so glad to be part of your friends group and network. Kunal Nehruji, Executive Director, Great Eastern Business School Private Limited. James B. School is the popular name, based out of Bangalore, is an entrepreneur with expertise in business operation. He has almost 15 years of experience in collaborating and leading projects across India, including Gems B School. In the education vertical, he has led Gems B School to being in the top 25 business schools in India. He has been instrumental in setting up 5 more campuses of James B School in South India. He has collaborated with over 350 corporate organizations, and that's a very interesting point, in India and abroad for student placement, and has launched various management programs in collaboration with renowned industry partners such as KPMG, SAP, Network 18, and HCG Hospital. Mr. Kunal has launched multiple certification programs in areas like business analytics, cybersecurity, digital marketing, airport operations, and human resources management. Nehruji was recognized as one of the top 30 digital marketers in India by ASMA India 2018. So welcome to you, Mr. Kunal, again. And now I request Mr. Hitesh Motwani to take care. We here to, I want to check if Professor Ujjwal is here. Tanujit, is Professor Ujjwal logged in?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
Can you
yes.
hear me?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Hiteshji, Mr. Professor Ujjwal has to leave a little early at 12. So I request you to sequence your session like that. Appreciate it. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Hitesh. Yeah.
So first of all, thank you so much, Rahulji, and thank you so much for the eminent panelists to be over here. I'm super excited for both of you having over here, and thank you so much to all the participants who have logged in from different parts of the country to be over here today. First of all, I'd like to say, if you're excited to be over here, I wanted to keep writing on the chat box that you're excited to be over here, right? And it is so great to have such an eminent panel, Mr. Kunal Nehruji, and most importantly, our esteemed guest over here who have been over here with us. So first of all, thank you so much for coming in. It's really a pleasure to have both of you with us right now over here as we speak. So let me first of all set the context, okay, of this session right now. And let me tell you guys a bit more about what do we see in digital. and how do we basically see digital changing scenarios for us right now. So today, if you see, uh, digital is no longer an option for people. It is a necessity happening right now. And one of the biggest drivers for change at this current time is only and only surviving on digital technology. And also, in the classrooms where educators are teaching people right now, the entire way of classroom teaching has changed. The entire way of producing case studies have changed. The entire way of business functioning has changed. So we're not even sure that how relevant will be the old textbooks which are there online. In fact, all the textbooks have been digitized. All the reading materials are being digitized. And most importantly, even businesses are forced to become digitized. So I was reading one of the very interesting comments on LinkedIn, and they said that because of COVID, even a normal functioning company has now become a technology company, right? And I hope that all of you agree with this particular fact over here. And the way I see things changing in the industry now is, that first of all, the entire scenario of jobs, which was there earlier, has changed right now. Because the students, who will be passing in this particular time period, which is during this COVID, probably they will be known as one of the first batches, which is the COVID batches coming in at this time. And people who had dreams of having higher packages, good opportunities, even today, all of these things are happening. But only the survival of the fittest will survive. The one who's the smartest to find opportunities, hunt opportunities at this particular time, will actually make his, make his way out. But still, we've seen many traditional companies like Maruti, Tata's, and all of these big brands. They've been onboarding students virtually. They've been giving them the same experience like office. And today, every single company is now trying to give a better experience. And that's my context for today's session. But today's session context is that how digital marketing has changed the scenario. And the second aspect, which is actually picking up heat right now from our Prime Minister Modi's message of, going, vocal for local, is that how these local vendors will start building e-commerce. How will they start coming out in the e-commerce scenario? How will they start surviving this ecosystem? So though essential goods are necessity right now, but essentially, how will they reach out to the customers? There's the old way of deliveries are changing. The old ways of payment method are changing. Today, people are scared. They're holding cash right now. With just all of these scenario, I've got two very eminent panelists, Professor Ujjwal and Kunal Nehruji, who will throw some light on this. So first of all, I'd like to invite both of them to open the panel with me. And I want to just understand their views on what do they feel about how e-commerce is going to work and how digital marketing is going to change. Right. So first, I'd like to invite Professor Ujjwal ji over here, who probably can share a few lines on what does he feel for the scenario of digital marketing and e-commerce, and what is his take on that. Professor Ujjwal, over to you.
Can you take the screen share out, or shall we speak like this?
So no, I think
you will be live, sir. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay. So fine. Thank you, and it's a good session indeed. I have been listening now and then. There was a little problem on the technology, so I got delayed. But it's a very good session, as I heard a part of the earlier part of the discussion as well. Moving ahead, digital is the dominant thing. This was already evolving. However, in marketing, India being traditional, a large part of India still outside digital access. So we have been also utilizing non-digital means. But post-COVID, there was convergence earlier also. So there was online, offline, on air, on ground, and on mobile. All the 5 channels of marketing were available. But post-COVID, the online one and the on mobile one will be are the dominant ones. So it's a web-led marketing now, digital-led marketing now. I do not want to jump into the bandwagon and say that all other forms like online, like offline, which is newspapers and magazines, or like outdoor, which are the out-of-home media, or on air, radio and television, have all gone away. It's not like that. The convergence is there. But earlier, the convergence was led largely by television to an extent, and then print and outdoor. Now the convergence will be led by the web. That's the big difference. So digital marketing has come to stay, come to lead, but not the only one that would be determining marketing channels. That's point one. So we need to understand the world ahead. The world just now is largely digital because of lockdown and many other things, but gradually it will be physical plus digital. But the base of marketing communication and brand communication in this convergence scenario will become digital, and various media vehicles would be there utilized, but digital would be the dominant one. The second concept I want to introduce is 720 degrees communication. So far we knew 360-degree communication. 360-degree took cognizance of offline, on air, online, and on ground. 4 types of media. Now there is a convergence of social media coming in a big way. There is a convergence of various alternate media coming in a big way. So the online is not the traditional online only. With social media, it has become much bigger, and therefore there is a convergence which is horizontal and which is vertical. So 720-degree communication dominated by the web will be there. And we need to understand, therefore, consumer insights through big data. Earlier, understanding of consumer insights was through physical market survey, through many other means, television viewing habit and all that. Now, artificial intelligence driven big data, machine learning, and Google Analytics will determine to understand or make sense of people's behavior, analyze, decide, and then act upon it for marketing purposes. These are the 2 big changes that have happened.
So now I have one more question for you. Since you've been in this, since you're a very known figure in the film, in the film space, I see that, you've been deans, of across film institutes in the country today. So you must have seen, a scenario now with digital and OTT platforms picking up heat, right? And with every single thing going online. What is your take right now? How do you think the film industry is going to change from a digital perspective? How is going to be digital film industry? Right?
Very interesting. Very interesting. The largest chain of film exhibition halls, AMC of US and Cineworld of Europe, number 2, both of them have announced closure. Only a few of their chain, 2 out of 10 sort of ones will be considered to be continued. The rest have already announced closure. At this point, they are not even operating. So that is a sign of the times. So in my opinion, films will be of 2 types now. One larger one, the blockbuster one, still will remain in Indian context because too much of money has gone into the film exhibition space. Too many players are there. So blockbusters will remain, but there will be one in a dime, one in a dozen. The way we launch 3 or 4 or 5 films every week will not be the culture ahead. And small budget to medium budget, many would go video streaming online on OTT platform. As you know, Gulabo Sitabo has been launched online. There are 7 films have been launched in Bollywood online in the last 3 months. There was one by Anurag Kashyap also, and Nawazuddin Siddiqui was acting there. Gulabo Sitabo also has a good cast there. So the point I'm trying to, people's viewing habits are changing immensely. As people say that 21 days are enough to change a habit. It's more than 105 days now. So and the cinema halls are not destined to open till October as on today. It might open in November. That they are looking at Diwali now, but then we never know what the situation will be at that time. So given the current situation, there will be a rediscovery of cinema in India with small films, featurette. Small is below 20 minutes, featurette 20 to 60 minutes, above 60 minutes is feature film. So featurette and small films coming on OTT in a big way. And small budget feature films also coming on OTT, as we are already seeing. In Bengali, I'm talking from Calcutta, Hoichoi OTT has launched 3 full feature films in Bengali by now in this lockdown period. So the stories will be more intense, less characters, but more intense, because you are viewing the stories not on a large screen, but you are viewing on laptop or on a palm top. So therefore, the stories will be less expensive, production will be less expensive, but more intense drama. The story will be the hero and not the stars. You may see a rise of new artists, new group of artists now, who are real actors and not stars in that sense. And the stars will move to many other celebrity business maybe, and a few of the blockbusters that will come by the way. Please note, Cannes film festival has occurred digitally just now. Oscar has already, only a few days ago, June end. Cannes has occurred online. And Fiki Frames, which is India's biggest entertainment business meet, has occurred online only in this month, July, in the first week. And Oscar is going to happen in August online. Never in the history of Cannes and Oscar in the last 100 years, there has been an online presentation of this. So cinema and cinema events will go largely online. Another good example I'd like to say, CPH Docs, world's largest documentary film festival, had gone online in May, first time, and earned 18% more money because $5 was the entry fee into that, and $5 with 33% more viewers because it was online and people from India and China and every other country could watch it. So they actually have spent less and earned more. There was no loss at all. And even the expenses for Oscar would go much lower than what it was. Cannes was done at 14% of the regular cost. So there will be a total upheaval in the world of cinema in that way. And here, for the first time, script writers and good actors and intense drama will get large focus, a lot of focus going ahead. That's the scenario.
Got it. Kunalji, before I come to you, just one last question for Professor Ujjwalji, because he has to leave. I then I come to you. I just want to understand, Professor Ujjwalji, now how are you preparing your university and students to now go online? What is the take on the careers in digital marketing and e-commerce industry, and how are you prepared, to get your students on board online in your respective universities right now?
Very well asked. That's a very good question. E-enabled education and web-enabled learning. E-enabled education means the content has to be E-enabled. So we are preparing our own MOOCs, massive online courses for all the courses. We have 117 programs, undergraduate and postgraduate, across 9 disciplines. One of the discipline being media and entertainment, and there is another discipline, management. So both the disciplines are being discussed at this point of time here. And in all these disciplines, including law and engineering and others, biotech and all that, we are developing our own massive online courses, MOOCs. One point, which includes video, animation, graphics, and PowerPoint presentations, and many things, case studies and all. We are also aggregating knowledge from many already existing open platforms. So there are many videos, many links from URLs from available sources online. So together, our own MOOCs, our own content, and aggregated content for each topic of each course is being developed at this point in July. August 17, we start our online classes for the new batch and the existing batches. And this time, interestingly, a large part, because we believe that the world ahead will be phygital. Government may not allow physical connectivity just now, but it's a question of time. Finally, the students will come, whether in the end of the first semester now or in the second semester, they will come on campus. But the connectivity, or rather the frequency of meeting, would be far lesser than what it was earlier. We used to do 250 days of classes. It might come down to 100 or 110 days of classes for each batch. And we may have to time slot batches so that physical distancing is maintained. And hence, a large part of our education, including virtual labs, including virtual studios, will go online. We have already prepared virtual labs for some of the courses. Other courses preparation is going on. There are also free virtual labs available, but they have limitations. We'll begin with the free ones, but the ones we have already done will also be utilized. So this is one. I must also mention that our entire media education and management education in recent times, after post-pandemic, has been revamped, and new academic council has approved the new courses where the focus is on web-based training now. Not only training, even the content that is being taught. For example, journalism will be on web journalism and mobile journalism, not the traditional journalism. So entertainment, the focus will be on web entertainment and web series. For example, brand communication, the focus will be on digital branding, digital PR, new media reputation management. How do you create reputation management through the use of the internet? How, for example, webinars like this are replacing seminars of the past. And webinar time slotting would be also significant. So we are moving to, and even in marketing, how digital marketing will be the base based on which the other forms of marketing may be utilized. Because India, after all, a large part of India, and depending on the product and service, a large part of Indian market is in rural India. And digital access is still limited. Digital divide is reality. A society broken or divided by class is bound to be divided digitally as well. And there is a need now. And I must utilize this platform to tell, 2.4% is the national budget for public education. And this must be raised to 5% plus. And this doubling of the money should be utilized for digital access. Just as roti, kapra, makan, shiksha or swast, 5 things are necessary for a dignified life. Similarly, digital access is the 6th thing necessary now for a dignified life. Otherwise, the digital divide will completely create chaos in society ahead, because digital divide is worse than economic divide. Many people economically doing reasonably well in certain localities may be digitally not having access. So therefore, CSR of the corporates, as you know, 2% of profits of every company has to be given in CSR.
Yes.
CSR of the companies and additional money from government must be deployed, allocated for creating digital access. And the initiative that you are doing, for example, for a month-long or a 2 months long initiative of interacting with youngsters on education digitally, is the type of things that will come up in future. And to illustrate that, in the month of June 1 to 10, 54 speakers, including the persons of the level of Anurag Kashyap or Prahlad Kakkar or Roshan Abbas and all, I brought them digitally for my media students, and we brought 4 universities came together, and 800 students actually listened to them for 56 hours, 54 speakers, 56 hours across 10 days. And this could not have been done physically. To do that, it would have cost more than 1 crore of rupees. But it did not cost me more than 5 lakhs rupees. So this is the way to go ahead. And I really appreciate Rahul Jain and team for doing this for 2 long months. It requires patience, dedication, and commitment to reach out to a large number of youngsters in this manner. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Ujjwal. Thank you so much. So now, Kunal, Nehruji, we'll just come to you right now. So I want to understand what's your take on this entire digital marketing and e-commerce, because you have been very active in this space. I have seen that you've been very vocal about it in your YouTube videos as well. So just want to hear from you. What is your take on this entire digitization right now, and how do you plan to see e-commerce going in right now at this current time?
Well, good morning to all of you. Thank you, Rahul, for having me here, and Ujjwal ji made a lot of interesting points. So it's great to be connected with all of you here. Well, see, digital marketing, e-commerce, is clearly the way forward, right? I mean, we all, have been seeing these 2 areas grow extensively in the past few years. And now with the whole COVID situation coming into the picture, in terms of business growth, in terms of youngsters looking for career opportunities, I think clearly, e-commerce is the area to, look at. Right. So, I'd like to, I mean, I was told that our audience today, our participants today would be students who are looking at exploring careers in the area of digital marketing, careers in the area of e-commerce per se, right? So, the message that I would like to give students who are looking at this as an area to do a course in future and get into is, they are on the right track. All right, because in terms of growth, all right, I'll keep it brief here. The digital advertising industry is growing at about 35% year on year. And if you're going to talk about e-commerce, as a whole, it was at about 39 billion in 2017, and it's expected to grow to 120 billion this year. Again, it depends on the current situation that we are. And by 2026, it's expected to grow to 200 billion. So this is when a student is looking for a career, all right, it's very important for him to look at an industry which is in demand, all right, and clearly e-commerce, digital marketing are areas that are in demand, all right, because if you are choosing an industry that is in demand, all right, automatically your growth is guaranteed. growth in terms of you growing within the organization, in terms of your learning, in terms of your financial growth, in terms of opportunities abroad that Indians are crazy about. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely the area to look at for students. Yeah.
Very interesting. The point over here, there are about 20 lakh jobs right now, in digital marketing in India. If you go to Naukri, go to any other portal, you find multiple jobs only on digital marketing coming in, right? So post-pandemic, what do you think is the journey of students likely to be secured in the digital scenario? Now, apart from, say, for example, having other skills, how important do you think is digital skill sets for them? And what kind of skill sets you feel students should be having right now to get better jobs in the market, as per your experience and as per whenever you speak to any HR heads or committee heads, in various corporates, what do you hear from them at this point in time when they're looking for placements of your students, right now?
Kunal, you're there? Hello. Hello.
Kunalji?
I think we lost him. Hitesh,
Okay.
he should be back anytime. Let me try and answer this question
Sure.
for you, Hitesh.
Sure, please.
So, in fact, I run a digital enterprise now, 100 people working on 5 different specialty areas: automobile, healthcare, real estate, also a lot of technology companies, whom we consult. So
Correct.
what I'm finding that, the digital marketing skill set, if you may ask me, I think it can be broadly broken into several areas: a lot of content development, lot of social media moderation, and social media strategies, in fact, which can deliver. The most important point is, we have to cut the clutter between what is the normal strategy versus, business oriented ROI driven strategies. Let's not just create content for the heck of it. I think that has to be brought in.
Correct.
So we have then skill sets required in paid marketing area. We are then talking about, skill sets required in the organic marketing. As Professor Ujjwal was also highlighting, we can talk about the online PR related pieces, video content development. So I think there is immense skill set required for the digital, professional to actually become a, I would say a consultant. But then you need a specialist in each of these areas at the same time. So I hope I saw Mr. Kunal coming back. Kunal, you are there? Hello?
Yeah, he's there now. I can see him. Yeah, I think you're on mute, Kunal. You can just unmute yourself. Yeah. So, I had a specific question for you before.
Just to conclude the
Yeah,
point,
can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Yes. I think you need to repeat the question, maybe, Mr. Hitesh.
No, I heard the question actually. I heard Hitesh's question. So yeah. So I mean, good question, Hitesh. See, not only somebody who's looking at digital marketing, generally anybody who's looking at starting a career, choosing a course for a career, somebody who's looking at a paradigm shift, a domain shift in their career, I think something that they all need to very importantly consider going forward is, will the area I'm choosing be in demand in the post-COVID world? It is as simple as that. All right. And digital marketing clearly is going to be one area which is in demand. Well, see, let me give you my example. So we run an institution, GEMS B School. We are a business school, and this would have been a time, okay, where I would have spent at least about, I would say, 1 CR on advertisements on print media.
Correct.
Okay, but right now, as I speak with you, my spend has been only 3 lakh rupees. Okay. And going forward also, because this situation that we are in is going to slowly phase out. Okay, and this time when everybody is sitting at home during lockdown and things like that, they are building new habits. habits like consuming news online instead of print. I'm just giving you one example here, all right? People who used to probably read the Times of India newspaper, a large section of them are reading the news on apps now, right? Because they don't want to take the risk of buying newspapers. There are a lot of apartments that have banned newspapers. So going forward, in a time like this and going forward, digital marketing is one area that is going to be in demand. All right. I've been talking to a lot of my friends who run companies like InnoServe that Rahul runs, and they have been telling me that the kind of business that they are doing right now is much more than what they were doing last year at this time. Institutions that were kind of hesitant to spend on digital platforms are now going ahead and spending all out because that's the only goddamn choice they have, right? Correct. So that is how it's going to be going forward. Even after this slowly phases out, it's just that your customers are going to be so hooked to digital platforms because of this period. They're going to be so used to consuming content on digital platforms that they're going to spend more and more time on digital platforms. So clearly, digital marketing is one area which is going to do a lot of business in days to come, and it's definitely a good idea for students to consider this as a career option. Yeah.
Right. So basically, I also run a marketing training company and digital marketing consultancy as well. So what I have personally seen, usually in the pre-COVID days, right? I used to, I normally do approximately 5 to 10 corporate trainings in a month, right? Easily. So we are very big in the corporate space. We are also very big in the student phase as well, because we teach at MICAs, IIMs, SPJs, and all the other institutions of the world. And you won't believe, like now I'm just going one meeting after the other. So like after I'm done with this meeting, I've got other meeting already lined up. Like in the morning also taking a session, after that straight away come over here, right? So even for educators, what I'm feeling is people who are, external visiting faculties or external training industries as well. The time has come in a way that, everybody wants to train on some skills of the others. Correct. And it's also a best time because now for institutions especially, the level playing field is no longer India. It's across the world. So today, earlier I had to work very hard to get a student internationally come to India. But today, everything is online, right? Everything is going complete digital. So even for, even for a B school like yours, right? You must be thinking, okay, how can I now get students from, neighboring countries? How can I get students from US, right? Where I see that okay, in future, even international exchange programs can be done online, best part with zero cost, right? And that's what is really changing. So it's not about just about digital marketing alone. It's about digital enablement is what I feel. It's going to change. It's already changing the scenario. It's going to even change further as well. Now coming to my next question, since you already running an institute now, and you have a lot of students, a lot of parents and students are very anxious. Will the learning experience be the same? How will the course be conducted? What about practical exposure about it? Right. So how are you dealing with all those kind of scenarios right now in your institute?
Well, see, just to add to the point that you made previously, the way I look at it, for me at least, my business, I feel this is in a way a blessing in disguise. All right. Well, of course, yes, business has not been the best and things like that. But in terms of the processes that we used to follow to interact with prospective students and things like that. So what used to happen was, we had our campaigns going on and students used to get to know about us. We used to counsel them over the telephone, and then they used to walk in and stuff like that. So now, because of the COVID situation, what is happening is we have been doing Zoom sessions with all the prospective students who are interested in getting details about our courses, studying at GEMS B School. And what is happening is I am able to present myself in front of all these prospective students, make a presentation. Okay, instead of my counselor, who's probably somebody with 2 or 3 years of experience. Okay, me who is somebody who has kind of curated these programs myself. I am able to interact with these students directly. I am able to make a presentation to them. I'm able to talk about the benefits of the program, and therefore, I am very happy that I'm doing justice. I'm able to reach out the message that I have always intended to a student. And why I say this is a blessing in disguise, because this is in some way a wake-up call. Because all these tools like Skype and Zoom and all these things have been available for a while, right? But it is something that we have never been able to leverage. But thanks to COVID, everybody now is slowly getting used to using these kind of tools. Prospective students are getting used to learning about a college through these kind of tools. Institutions are getting used to giving them information through these kind of tools. So it is working very, very effectively, much more effectively when compared to how we were doing it earlier. So that's number one. Number two, all our programs are work study programs, all right, and we are in a city like Bangalore. So it was always a very big challenge for us to get students to attend classes, all right. But now, thanks to online classes, my attendance is more than 90%.
Right.
It's a revelation. I mean, no one really expected it would be so good. So we are seriously thinking of continuing this even post lockdown, after the government allows us to open and things like that, to do some kind of a blended model where we do part of the classes online and part of them offline. So yeah, I mean, this has been a blessing in disguise. And to answer your next question about how we are managing classes and things like that, well, all of our classes presently are happening online, all right, and they're all happening pretty effectively thanks to the kind of faculties we have. As a policy at GEMS, all our faculties are adjunct faculties, guys like yourself, who come from the industry, who come as visiting faculties and teach our students. They're subject matter experts in what they do. They teach and get out. So they are able to conduct these classes quite effectively online, all right. And luckily for us, because we are a business school, the practical component of learning is not much, so that isn't really a big concern. But what we are doing is we are doing all our assessments online. Okay, so students do all their presentations, everything online now, and our exams are also starting on the 27th of this month, and the exams are also video proctored examinations. Meaning, there are we have allotted one faculty to every 20 students, and there's a separate link on which they take up the examination. And the faculty from here is virtually invigilating that small classroom of 20 students, and they're watching them take up the exam. And the students move left or right, immediately the faculty wants them, saying, hey, look, don't look around, kind of a thing. So, I mean, I agree it's not foolproof, and it may not be as effective as doing it physically. But in times like these, I think it's any day much better than just writing off your exams and saying, okay, we're going to evaluate your marks based on your internals and so on and so forth. So yeah, we are exploiting all the digital tools that are available to our disposal to the hilt. Yeah,
makes sense. Makes sense. I'll just tell you about one of the scenarios that like what I was in between. You wouldn't believe this. In COVID time, right? We launched this thing called as faculty development programs to train multiple faculties. And I would like to invite everybody to guess how much people do you think we must have trained in the COVID time? We actually trained over 15,000 teachers in just one webinar.
I was too, yeah, I mean, I was expecting the kind of number, because we did a FDP where we saw 7,500 people in 5 days program.
Correct.
So,
right? I mean, imagine, right? Imagine,
yeah.
Seeing it in physical environment, we could have never ever done such a huge intervention, because it would have costed a bomb with places, projectors, screens, management, people running out here and there. But because of digital, and overall, in this last 4 months, we've trained over 1.2 lakh teachers, right? Only in the last 4 months. Can you beat that? So, and especially, over that time, I was sharing with them some tools, to kind of do exams. And what I feel, with your point about, say, having a proctored exam, in place, even the way the exam paper is set is going to change right now. Especially, now the exams are going to be more practical and case study oriented rather than keeping it more theoretical oriented. Because what really happens is in a practical case study scenario, it's difficult to copy. So, is a person actually applying, his gray brain to figure out, okay, this is the right answer, that's the right answer, and he's actually forced to think that, okay, this is the application I need to do. So, what I feel is in future, the application of learning will become more as compared to just consuming learning material, thanks to the scenario. Now we've got one more very interesting question from one of the participants over here. He's asking that majority of students are not comfortable with things like maths and associated stuff like statistics, analytics, and ML. How would they, move to digitized world? What's your take on this, Kunalji?
Well, if the question is about how effectively we can teach mathematics and statistics, subjects like that online, well, I must tell you, this is a complaint that we have been receiving from a lot of students of ours already, because we have business statistics as a subject for our BBA programs. Well, see, the thing with subjects like maths and statistics and all that, agreed, it needs a lot of individual attention and things like that. Yeah. The only way is probably having a few more classes. The only way is probably the institution arranging for some additional online classes for those students who are finding it a little, difficult to go through these classes and understand statistics and mathematics online, because this is a problem that we also faced, about 2 months back, where we had a feedback from many students where they said that they're not able to understand subjects like statistics through these online classes. Well, at least till the classes kick off, it is certainly going to be a challenge. But I think the only solution for this, number one, would be to have some personalized attention. Okay. Number two, to have some extra classes. Number three, I think faculties teaching mathematics and statistics should also come up with a little more, innovative ways of teaching students. Since this is something that has just hit us about 2 months back, I think we need to give it a few more months or maybe even a year for, faculties, for schools and colleges and universities to come out with a few more innovative ways of teaching these kind of difficult subjects, which are a challenge, because as it is, a subject like mathematics or statistics is really boring in a classroom. Even when you're sitting in a physical classroom, it's really boring. You can only imagine how it is going to be in an online class, because all said, an online class can never be as interesting as a face-to-face physical class kind of a delivery. Okay, but this is the only choice we have right now, at least for a few more days. So we need to give some time for colleges and universities to come up with something innovative. Yeah,
I think I would like to add to what Kunal said. So considering the limitations of the classes subjects like maths and statistics, I think if faculties can use some technical tools, like when we talk about statistics, there are tools like R and others actually which can be possibly adapted in the learning pedagogy in order to do better explanation. I think that maybe is one answer. And I've seen my child's maths teacher using a digital board in order to actually do it just like what they used to do in the classroom. So maybe those kind of adaptation, a digital board costs you around 7,500 to begin, and there can be many ways you can utilize as a teacher. Digital boards can be utilized in order to make the screen effective. I've seen, in fact, my kid also learning chess using the digital board. So everything, when actually has a simulation available, if simulation oblique certain digital methods are used to input the text, I think the problem can be somewhat sorted. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, actually, I'd like to just add something here. Yeah, that's a good point, Rahul. These digital boards and things like that. Actually, some of our faculties, use those tools as well. I think we should take, or rather, educational institutions, universities, which are offering higher education courses at the graduation level, post-graduation level, should take a cue from, players like Byju's, for example. Okay, now if you see, they have completely transformed the way kids learn, certain subjects like mathematics or physics. They have made it so interesting with some videos and animation and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think this is an opportunity for some companies, okay, some edtech companies to come up with some solutions for educational institutions and higher education to teach these kind of subjects to students, where they'll be able to understand it easily. Yeah.
Sure. In fact, I'm just going to say that what typically can happen over here is, there's a lot of these online freely available copyright-free videos which educators can make use of, right? What you can do is, so certain concepts, which are not very clear. So some people have already done the hard work for you. They've actually put up, these equations and solutions for you online. And probably, those can be a part of the learning aid, apart from, people just teaching the regular subject the way they are teaching, apart from using the whiteboards and all, right? Because, and also it gives a breather to the faculty as well, because the faculty then can, have a mix of video content plus his own live content. It can also be a good mixture, right? So I guess that's the probable solution that we could come up with right now. We also have a question from Dilip right now. He says that how much digital skills and analytical skills and communication skills are mandatory, and that you would recommend to freshers entering in the industry now. Right? What's your take on that?
Well, see, now for a fresher entering into the industry, okay, he should first of all do a course in digital marketing. Okay, and I would suggest him to do a course which is a hands-on course. Okay, I mean, there are a lot of players today offering courses in digital marketing. Okay, and I see courses available for as low as 15,000 rupees, like a 1 week course and stuff like that. My take is that a student should do a hands-on program which would add real skills to him in this area. Okay, so he should do a comprehensive program where he actually hits the tools. All right, so let's say we're talking about teaching him how to advertise on Facebook. He should work on the tool. He should be able to, right from learning the fundamentals of digital marketing. He should learn design and communication, how to create landing pages, how to design creatives, which would mean learning skills like HTML, Photoshop, etc. The student should be trained in the area of content marketing, search engine optimization, social media, page management, to all those, a lot of new platforms like Quora and stuff like that, a lot of content writing, content creation, that kind of stuff. And finally, he should also be taught digital advertising and analytics. Analytics is also a very, very important part of digital marketing today, and things like that. So my take is, a student should, number one, do a program, and should do a good program which is a hands-on program and not just some kind of a theoretical program. Because tomorrow when a student applies for an interview with a company like Rahul's InnoServe, okay, Rahul would like to know, okay, what are the kind of skills you have? Do you have practical hands-on skills of at least doing a few projects, working on some kind of an internship on all these areas? Number one. Number two, analytical skills. Another point that you raised is absolutely very, very important. Analytics is a very integral part of digital marketing. Okay, so somebody who goes through a proper course in digital marketing will automatically learn a lot of these things also. So doing a good course is the key thing which can get them into the industry. Yeah.
I wish to one very important point. You talked about communication as a requirement right now. So
yeah,
what we are experiencing, we are able to survive this pandemic very conveniently only because the ability of our team to be able to communicate with each other and the customer more effectively than before. So communication is going to play a very, very important role in the times ahead. So ability to, do inter-teams communication, ability to converse with the customer base, ability to actually express your ideas better. While your technical knowledge is at one end and it's required, as Kunal highlighted, but I think communication ability to, express is going to be very, very important now.
Absolutely, Rahul. See, not just a job in digital marketing, a job anywhere today. You're talking about finance, HR, marketing, whatever it is, right? Effective communication skills is baseline. I mean, that is the most fundamental requirement that a student needs to take care of before joining. So if you see I mean, we run a few institutions in tier 2 cities in South India, like Vizag and Mysore and Pondicherry, Tirupati, these kind of locations. And the way we run our courses is, while 50% prominence is given to their MBA syllabus or BBA syllabus, another 50% prominence is given to making them industry ready. Okay, and industry ready from a soft skills perspective, communication skills, confidence, personality, having a positive outlook, that kind of stuff. So I think those things are baseline, and like Rahul very rightly said, you need to be able to effectively communicate, to be able to interact with each other in your workplace, interact with your customer. And in the present situation currently, where everything is happening virtually, you really have to be good with your communication skills to be able to survive. Yeah.
Correct, because communication is the real foundation of any job today, right? If you're not able to speak well in the interview, how do you expect the opposite person to actually, come and hire you at first place, right? And apart from, say, technical skills or, your hard skills like your digital marketing, analytics and all, even soft skills play a very, very important role in getting both of these things combined. Now, coming to the point of that you spoke about digital marketing and, digital marketing hands-on. Somebody put a question over here saying that, what is the kind of certifications I should do? Now, I would like to just take this question up, and I'll just to say that today, everybody, I've seen a lot of people, what they do is they just keep on running behind certifications. Now, while they're important, I'm not denying they're not important, because at least they will get you foot in the door. But more than the certifications, what's required is the applicable skill sets to perform the duty diligently yourself. That means you should be able to, as Kunal was also mentioning, having a hands-on experience in that. Because if you're not able to give a hands-on, if you're not able to, talk about the application of it, why would somebody hire you? Because today companies don't hire on the basis of, from where you've done a program from. They hire on the basis of your skill set, correct? And without a proper skill set, you would not be able to make a mark in the industry and probably grow in the respective industry which is there. So, coming to the future, roles that, apart from, say, digital marketing and machine learning and AI, what are the other roles that you see evolving right now after COVID? Like, we have the HR normally puts this checklist in place. Okay, this is the kind of, responsibilities that I want. How do you see that checklist being changed, Kunalji? What do you feel that, what will the future role demand from the youth right now who are watching this webinar, at this point in time? What's your thoughts on that? I think you're on mute. You should unmute.
Yeah, sorry. While areas like digital marketing, business analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and all these roles are going to be in demand, like you very rightly said. See, I think going forward, there are going to be opportunities in all the areas that there were all these days. You talk about finance, you talk about HR, you talk about, there are going to be jobs in the area of healthcare and, event management, and, all those areas are going to be there. But I think the kind of skills that they're going to expect is going to change a little bit. Okay. Now, if a student could especially a management student, because, I run a management institution. And if a management student with a qualification in, let's say, HR, for example, can couple it with, some skills in the area of business analytics, okay, like having worked on tools like R and Python and Tableau, SAS, Minitab, there are so many products out there. And if he could choose the right course and acquire some of those skills, I think that's going to be a great value add. I think that is the way forward, because we will really have to see how these things take shape in the next 6 months, and even if people start going back to work and start working out of their offices, and after the vaccine comes out and stuff like that, organizations are going to be prepared for something like this going forward, and their systems and processes are going to be prepared for something like that. So I think a student who is equipped to handle responsibilities virtually, with skills in the area of business analytics and stuff like that, will certainly be in demand. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Now I see that you also run a couple of satellite programs with international universities and all, and you also been instrumental in figuring out, okay, this tie-ups and getting the best of best people on board. Like as you said, you only got a young faculties in your board right now. You're getting one of the best minds and sharpest minds to come and teach these students online at this point in time. So, and also there will be a lot of aspirants in your college as well who will feel that, okay, apart from a job, I need to go internationally to university and get some more higher education done, or figure out if I want to have an opportunity internationally as well, right? How do you see that scenario changing right now? With if there will be lockdown, you're international in India as well. Do you think international companies are looking at the Indian students? And second question that I have for you is, how do you think education will change right now? So for an Indian student, opting for an international program, and how is that going to be spanning out at this point in time?
Okay, so I have some data here that I can share with you. We run a program called the British MBA. All right, so we have an association with a university called University of Sunderland, which is in UK, and this university is in the top 100 universities, and the management colleges in the top 50 universities in UK, with about 3 campuses, 2 in UK, 1 in Hong Kong, and it's a big show, a very reputed university. We work with them, and it's a twinning program. A student does the first year in Bangalore and the second year in either London or Sunderland, which is where they have their 2 campuses. Okay, you will not believe it, the number of enquiries I have for this program is much more than the number of enquiries I had last year. Okay, and I have about 30 students who have enrolled last year, that is in 2019, for this program, okay, who should have left in the month of August and October this year. Okay, and I've been having these Zoom sessions with them and things like that. Believe it or not, about 26 out of these 30 students are game to go to London and Sunderland in October. All right, so I don't see that this has dropped at all, and and I've also been interacting with the University of Sunderland's India office. I've been trying to negotiate with them and get some kind of a good deal for our students in the form of free scholarships and things like that. I thought I would exploit the situation, and because they would not have too many takers and not many students applying, and they said that's really not a problem. I mean, we have many students who applied, and we can give you just this much. It was a very blunt response. So the demand to be quite high, and students wanting to go abroad and study. Okay, in my experience, though, logically the demand should be less. But in my experience, from the data I have, from my interactions with my own students and university, I really don't see a dip in that demand at all, because students are still very crazy, and they all know that this is going to last for a few months, and after that things are going to come back to normal. Yeah.
Very interesting insight. That actually happened. But yeah, but good to know, from your end that it's actually happening right now, and things are changing such drastically as well. So now I'd like to just invite our participants to put in their questions in case they have any, right? For Kunal ji, for Rahul ji, or for me, in terms of digital marketing or careers, or any specific question that you have for any of the esteemed panelists over here right now, so that we can take it up for you guys over here.
While we see the questions, Hitesh, why don't you tell a little about Skillopedia, the effort that you have?
Sure. So yeah, so just to give you a perspective about a bit about us, so we are a fairly, what I say, I mean, we are a very young company. Okay, we've been in the space for about 3 years now, and so I'll just give you a bit of background about me first. When I was a student, just like many of them attending right now, I always wanted to become a DJ. That was my aim in life. Okay, but having said that, our parents want to do something else, and you want to do something else in life. So my parents never approved of me becoming a DJ. So then I became a banker. I was working in the banking industry for the first 5 years of my career. And after the banking industry, my passion developed towards marketing. I said, you know what, I only want to do marketing because I think this is where the moolah lies. And then I joined a PR company called Burson Marstello. After that, I also got a chance to work with Mr. Ratan Tata and do his digital marketing with Radio Fusion YNR. And after that, I actually worked with Crompton Reeves. I was heading digital over there. My last role, I was with Ogilvy, O&M. And with Ogilvy and Methods, I was actually working with them effectively to handle their digital scenario right now. So I launched Twitter in India. I also work with companies like Bandhan Bank, Swiss Re Insurance, Cricket Over 20. So we launched a lot of companies in India. And that's when, and education was a passion. I used to train people on the weekend, right? Even since the last 10 years, I've been training people on digital marketing. That time, digital marketing wasn't even a term at that particular point in time. And after that, 3 years back, I decided to quit my high-paying job and get into this industry full-time. So initially, when I thought that, okay, there's not a single hub for education in digital marketing. So let us create something like skills and a knowledge of skill set together, which is a name come as Skillopedia. So it's a Wikipedia of skill sets that people have, right? So earlier I thought, so we had a this company called Socialopedia, which is social media marketing plus Wikipedia of social media. Then we changed to Skillopedia because we went a bit broad. So now we do selling skills, we do presentation skills, we do digital marketing skills. And then, Times happened to us. So then Times of India was one of our first clients whom we worked with them, Times Pro especially. We launched a digital marketing course for them. So I was a subject matter expert where I launched the entire digital marketing program and scenario for them. So today, we are like a wholesaler of digital marketing. So we work with a lot of institutions and we plug in so we have about 20-30 faculties with us on our board who teach digital marketing. And we build curriculums for various companies, right from, Times Pro, Upgrad, Mica, IIMs, you name it, like we have associated with them and we are providing them rich content and rich material. And in some cases, we also vet their curriculums. So we vet their syllabus, we tell them, we prepare the assessments at the back end. We also prepare materials for them as well. That's one part of our business. Second part of our business is consulting. So we're not like an execution agency. Initially, we started an execution agency. That means people who do creatives, people who do performance marketing campaigns and all. But now we strategically focus to becoming a digital consultant. So currently what we do at this point in time is, let's take if there is a big corporate. If you see any corporates have a CMO, but the CMO are traditional marketing guys. They normally understand ATL, BTL, traditional marketing really well, but they do not understand digital to a larger extent. So what we do is we go to them and tell them, rather than hiring a chief digital officer, why don't you get us on board? And we will work with you. We will become a mediator between the agency and you. And we will basically optimize your digital marketing strategy. So today we are working with India Today, Mahindras and Mahindras, Endemol India, Big Boss, MasterChef. You see any campaigns going online. It's one of our strategies out there, right? So we work with like almost, good 50, 60 brands. And we are very big in the corporate training space. So today, we've trained every company on this earth. If you just name it, we must have had some intervention with them right now. That's what we basically do at Skillopedia. So we train people and we also consult brands on digital marketing scenarios.
Very interesting insights, we got, and Skillopedia seems to be, taking the front end, but I think there's much more under the water, that we can expect to see from you, Hitesh. This brings me to a very interesting point and the question I wish to pose to both of you.
Sure.
How do you see, when digital is penetrating, digital is here and digital is going to grow? How do you see the consulting space shaping up ahead, because more and more freelancers assume that they are the digital marketers. When we
Correct.
all know that is not the whole truth in its full sense. So what an individual or a wannabe digital marketer should look up to, as a future scenario when he talks about consulting?
So let me put it this way, okay? That today's marketing has to be T-shaped marketer. It's no longer a V-shaped marketer. The word is T-shaped marketing. A lot of people assume that digital marketing is only social media because that's what they consume most of the amount of time. So they only consume Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. They feel that digital marketing ki duniya itni hai. This is what digital marketing actually is, but not really. Digital marketing it's not about just marketing. It's about thinking digital at first place. That's what majority people miss today, right? So let's take the first step. The way I normally envisage things, okay, is that today, whatever role you see, for example, look at HR. Like, we had the head of HR of Indiamart in the morning with us, correct? No, today they have an aspect of social media recruiting. So rather than say giving money on Naukri or Monster, I can start running campaigns on Facebook or Google, and I can hire great talent over there at 1/10 of the cost of Naukri and Monster. Correct. That's also digital marketing. Let's talk about sales scenario. Sales people think digital is I don't really care about digital. My job is just pick up the phone, start selling and pitching people. But the question is, how will people come to you? How will people, come and see your product? How will you service them? It's through digital enablement. It can either be e-commerce. It can either be basically something else, right? Let's talk about administration. Today, if I'm an admin, my job is to procure material in my scenario. Even he needs digital because he needs to understand that when my inventory is getting over, if he doesn't understand that, how will he basically stock the new goods? How will he basically understand the demand in the college, institute, or companies? So digital is no longer about just a single role. It is about functioning. It's about smooth functioning for any organization. Now coming to the consulting part, what I feel is a lot of people feel that I'm going to just touch upon one or two scenarios, maybe say SEO, SEM, or social media, and I'm going to start my consulting because he feels that he knows it all because technically the knowledge is limited. I feel that the future of digital marketer is not somebody who knows it all, but somebody who's a specific, having a niche in a one particular industry. So let's take, for example, today, if I'm doing digital marketing for education institutes, right? I'm a niche in education institutes. I understand the scenario. I understand the admission cycle. I speak the same language as what education institutes speak to me, right? So let's take if tomorrow Kunalji has a choice between two agencies. One agency who's the generic and one is who's a specialist. He doesn't mind paying a 10% extra to a specialist because the learning curve that he has to spend with that agency is going to be far, far less. And that is where consulting is going to go. You look at in the real estate space, as places like Anrock or Ambit Capital or Motilal Oswal, right? All these firms are technically broking firms or consulting firms, but they have specialist wings. Like Ogilvy had a healthcare wing specially, where they only serve healthcare clients, correct? And that is where the consulting space is going to evolve. Where we're going to see more and more specialists coming in. So with subject matter expert of the industry plus digital skill set is where a killer combination for any industry. And today, every industry needs just two scenarios, essentially. And that's what I feel, consulting will head. It's not just about me becoming a generic consultant. It's about me being a specific guy with specific skill set, reaching out for a specific audience. It might be very small, but a small pie is big enough for him to capture the entire market, right? Kunal, what's your take on this? I think you're on mute.
Okay, yeah. I've just unmuted myself. Yeah. So, see, now, this is for sure that there are a lot of guys out there who are, freelancers, number one. A lot of people just work for about, 2-3 years with a digital agency, come out and start their own, small company because it's very easy. Your investment is, barely anything and, stuff like that. Now, the way I see it is if I was given a choice between a freelancer and a company to handle a certain responsibility of my digital campaign. Let's say it's social media, for example. All right. Now, the way I look at it is I would like to work with an organization because there are collective minds working on something there. I wouldn't want to leave the whole creativity aspect, the problem solving aspect, the communication aspect, understanding how my target audience thinks and stuff like that to just one person. I would like a team to work on it. Right? I would like minds to come together, deliberate, and come up with a concept and do something for me. All right. So, in that sense, I think I would personally not work with just one person who would run a campaign for me, or take care of any kind of a responsibility. Working with a company always has that advantage. Yeah.
Great. How you on mute?
I'm sorry, it didn't only answer, the question. It in fact helped me reaffirm myself that, our journey in our own organization is in the right direction. So we are taking a lot of effort in building vertical knowledge. We are focusing on industries, which are lifelong, and we are then building competence and people and practices and processes around it. This has helped us already grow up the value chain, and I think the same thing is reaffirmed by both of you. So I think the time is to close, and before we close, I think let's take a closing note from each one of you, and then I'll move to the vote of thanks.
Sure. So Kunalji, first, why don't you start? Yeah.
So, see, this kind of a session that we had today, all the deliberations and stuff like that. I think it's a great initiative, Rahul, by you and your team. I mean, I'm really not sure how many students have attended this, or probably they would see a recorded version of this later on or something like that. But I think a session like this, or sessions like these, in different areas, are really important to students these days, because one, thanks to COVID and all these webinars that we've been having, they're able to attend these sessions from the convenience of their homes, because they don't really have anything to do either way, and they're able to get a lot of information, and this would help them make informed decisions. All right. So I think this is a great initiative. Keep continuing, and if you ever need my assistance anywhere, let me know. Okay, and all the very best to you, Rahul.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think such minds coming together and in a very interesting panel coming together is also a very, very key thing for any session to be successful. And today, the kind of insights that Professor Ujjwal or Kunalji over here, or even in fact you also, Rahul, was really worth taking a note of, because I learned a lot of things being over here right now. So though sometimes what happens is you're so close to the subject. But then when you get somebody else's view on it, you feel, oh, like, okay, this thing's something that I missed on, right? So I think it was really delightful for having me over here. I was I'm really thankful to your entire organization and the entire team working behind this, because I know pulling off events is a big task at the back end. I think it was a wonderful platform. We got some good questions from participants as well. I'd also thank all the participants who have taken your time to come over here today and for being with us, especially for the last 2 hours, and listening to some great insights with all of us over here. So thank you once again, Kunalji, Ujjwalji, and Rahul, for having me over here. It was really amazing for me to be over here today with all of you. Thank you.
So thank you again. Thank you. In fact, this was a very important, event for us. When we looked at the entire spectrum of, curriculums and the streams which are going to fetch interest, we felt that digital business, digital competence, and e-commerce, I think, is the in thing, and it is going to actually have a lot of attention. So just to put this in a perspective, we got around 1170 registrations for this event, and the last number that my team told me is that we had some 517 attendees to the event. So I think that's a very good number, on a busy morning today that we could have. Uh, I think the kind of panel we got, we were very, we were very blessed. When I requested Akram to moderate it, the objective was very clear. He has been at the helm of affairs. Unfortunately, we missed him. So, for a very unfortunate reason. But I think thank you, Hitesh, for pitching into and taking his place. I see that Miss Amla Awasthi set the context very well. While she talked about the entire spectrum of e-commerce, getting affected positively, and in fact the agility that their organization have shown as a response in order to not only succeed but ride on to the success for future. So every effort is being taken at Indiamart in order to build the competence internally out, and every aspect of the business is getting touched digitally. So that's the clear sign. What happened yesterday, the commitment from Google coming to India also reinforces the fact that digital is here to stay, and more digital skills will be needed in every shape and form. And I think the panel then highlighted it very clearly, the areas in which the competency is needed, student focus is needed, faculties can prepare. And I think for all of us who attended this, we got a lot of clear insights as to what way to look forward in the future. So let me, thank my, speakers today. So thank you, Amla Awasthi ji, for your insightful session, followed by Mr. Hitesh Motwani ji. You taking over, the session has helped drive the conversation forward. Professor Ujjwal Chowdhury highlighted the convergence of media. Subsequently, we could deliberate a lot of, evolution of how digital skill sets are changing. And how we can look up to a mixing of, only skills with the consulting knowledge going to benefit the businesses. So I think we touched a lot of aspects clearly. We did talk about, the way individuals can better themselves in all these aspects in order to succeed in their times ahead. So with this, we come to an end of this session, and I should thank all my supporting sponsors. I would like to thank Government of Nagaland. I would like to thank Government of Telangana, Association of Indian Universities, who have supported us, very interestingly in the setting up of this entire event. I would like to thank FMA Digital, for their digital competencies getting extended to us. Orai Robotics Private Limited, our AI partner. I would like to thank Yangpu, the career mentors with us, and I then would like to take this opportunity to thank all the participants for their time spent with us. Without you, no session is going to be, complete. We are not even halfway our journey. We are here till 28th of August with this particular project, and we see a lot more interesting sessions coming up. Our next is on design and architecture on 17 July, Friday morning. A very interesting lineup from different design schools across the country is there. Request you to please, stay tuned to our announcements about the speaker lineup. I would like to invite you to join us at ASMA India. All social media handles we are present. Our ASMA TV features all the videos of this session and many others, from the country. So request you to subscribe to ASMA channel. And thank you once again. Stay safe, stay home, and have a great time ahead. Thank you so much, everyone.